Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving the Honda CR-V. The key is the same as the City. Anyways, this is the car and straight away we have to open the engine bay, don't we? So, no hydraulic struts. This is the engine, Earth Dreams technology, ID Tech, and you can see it's moving a lot. So the engine bay is large enough. You can actually put a bigger engine in this car. Yeah, it has a bigger petrol engine anyways. And as you can see, the design has a lot of typical Honda elements like this chrome over here, big Honda logo over here, full LED lights which look brilliant and also work brilliantly well. And there is Annabelle going. So you can see these are actually the fog lights of this vehicle and gets a LED DRL over here. The design actually looks very nice. It is typical CR-V design. Remove the Honda logo from this car and show it to any layman and they'll say, okay, this is the CR-V. And definitely the design looks very nice. What really looks attractive to me are these wheels. These 18 inches are perfecto in terms of design, and they have this black treatment inside which looks really nice as well. Honda logo of course over there. You can see ground clearance is decent enough but not really that much. 198 mm for the two-wheel drive, 208 mm for the four-wheel drive, or rather the all-wheel drive. So you get bold lines, you get this chrome line running over here. And overall, I definitely like the design of the CR-V. It doesn't have the presence of a typical SUV, but it is big, it is large, it is purposeful. It has a lot of presence over here. We get the L-shaped tail lights. In fact, a lot of elements are shared with other Honda cars. It actually looks like a grown-up Honda WR-V. I know, I'm sorry for saying that, but it does. Blackened rear bumper and CR-V badging over here. So a lot of creases and cuts, and you get a shark fin antenna, panoramic roof rails. So overall design definitely looks very nice and impressive. I'll show you one quirky feature over here. You can see this is the camera, okay, which I'll talk about once I get inside the car. So definitely Honda's done a great job in terms of making the CR-V look like a CR-V. I don't think that was a tough job though. The boot is not that big with the seats up, but with the seats down, yes, there's decent amount of space on offer. Now this is the diesel gets 7 seats, petrol gets only 5 seats, which means the boot is bigger in the petrol. Anyways, you can just pull these seats like this and there you go, you get a 7-seater. Over here we've got space to keep stuff. Yeah, and there is the spare tire as well. Now it isn't an alloy, it's actually a smaller size spare wheel. Now this isn't an alloy, but hey, it will not be easy to remove this tire from over here. There's a light here as well. You can turn it on or off like this. A nice switch to do that. And this boot lid isn't very light, but isn't heavy either. So let's quickly get into the rear seat right away. So the doors open large and wide. There's a lot of space to keep stuff over here. You can keep multiple bottles. Piano black finish over here. I like the design of the door handles as well. Speakers. And if you want to get into the rear seat, well, you need to pull it like this, fold this and pull this ahead. Now to get in here is a tough task, and there's absolutely no space for adults. Now, this seat is basically a stopgap measure to go from here to there, rather local commutes, and it's mainly for children. That also not for the long haul. There's space to keep stuff over here, you can see, and there's a hook over here as well. So the rear seat isn't very spacious. There's no under thigh support, there's no leg room, and headroom is also at a premium. There's not much glass area as well, so I really can't get in there. You really have to be skillful in acrobats to get into that seat. And you can recline this seat a bit, so in order to improve the headroom over here in this row. Let me push this back. Yeah, it goes quite a way back, and then there's good amount of leg room. Look at the leg room on offer. Good amount of knee room also. Under thigh support is decent. It's not the best, but headroom is an issue. My head is almost touching, it's actually touching the roof. The problem is with the headroom. Now this is with the seat recline. If I don't recline the seat, then my head will come out of the roof actually. So that's a problem over here. There's a handle over here, there's a handle over here, there's a hook over here, there are lights placed over here. Lights look nice, have the white treatment. AC vents are placed over here. Now this is for the second row, that is for the third row, and AC controls are here as well. Now you need to press a button to turn on air conditioning over there, rear AC button. So yeah, the vents are placed over here in one unit for both the rows, but no one really can sit over there. It's got multiple airbags. This variant has got, I think, 9 airbags, because you can see there's an airbag over here, there's an airbag over here, there's an airbag over here. So 3 airbags on the side itself on either side. So that's 6 airbags and 2 airbags over there. So 8 airbags, and I think it gets a knee airbag as well. So there are 9 airbags on offer. So there's good amount of comfort in the second row, other than the fact that there is no headroom for tall passengers. Center armrest gets twin cup holders over here. The floor is almost flat. The cabin is wide enough. 3 people can actually sit in comfortably. There's a magazine holder over here and a little scooped out seat seat back as well, AC vents over here as well, and there are twin USB ports over here, which is again a very nice touch. So definitely good amount of space in the second row, but unfortunately they have missed out on headroom completely somehow. I think the roofline is a bit sloping as well. Now when you open the door, it makes this noise and it actually shows you in the instrument cluster exactly which door is open, which is nice attention to detail by Honda. I appreciate that. Now let's quickly get into the driver's seat. Now obviously it gets passive entry. This is actually the sensor. You can just tap on it to lock or unlock. There is no button unlike in other Honda cars, but there is a keyhole over here, and as you can see, the doors open large and wide. There's good amount of space over here to keep bottles, and I love the power window controls because there's a piano black finish over here. This is to lock or unlock the car. This is for window lock. These are the power window switches. This is the handle. You can see the treatment is really very nice. Everything seems very good. 8-way adjustable electric seat over here. Yeah, 8-way adjustable, and the front seats are extremely comfortable. There's good amount of space over there in the foot area as well. There's a dead pedal too. There's space to keep stuff over here. This is the traction control button. This is the engine start stop button. So as you can see, everything seems very well laid out. Quality also is very nice in this vehicle, and I love the front seats. They are extremely comfortable. I mean, yeah, they are very, very, very comfortable. Good amount of thigh support, good amount of back support, good amount of headroom on offer. And you know what, there's so much space over here to keep stuff. So below the front armrest, you can see there's a nice big cubby hole, and it is extremely deep. It is really very deep. In fact, you can access it by pushing this behind as well. So that's how big it is, and you can remove this and you can see there is so much amount of space. There's an HDMI plug over here. There are twin USB ports over here. There's a 12-volt charging socket here as well. So definitely Honda has done a great job in terms of space over here. There it goes, slots back over here, and you can move it ahead and behind accordingly to access the storage bin. And there are twin cup holders over here. There's space over here as well. There's a 12-volt charging socket over here, and it gets buttons to select which gear you want to get into, unlike the petrol which actually gets a lever. So you know, it's very nice and convenient. However, when you're parking, you have to continuously press buttons. That gets a little frustrating. There's the Econ Mode as well. This is hill hold. This is the electric parking brake. It also gets hill start assist, and the glove box is actually decent sized. It's deep, but it's not very wide as such. And as you can see, the dashboard design is really very nice. It will remind you of the Civic. Auto dimming inside rear view mirror. There's a sunglass holder over here with a conversation mirror as well. Mahindra XUV 500. And over here you can see there's a light as well as a mirror. Same is the case over here. There's a light as well as a mirror, and over here you can see you can put your toll receipts as well. Now these are actually the controls for the lights. So there are multiple lights over here, and obviously you can also turn on the door lights, and this is to open the sun blind for the sunroof, the panoramic roof, which is actually large enough in this vehicle. Now let me open the sunroof. There's another button to open the sunroof, and press it once to open it even more. So yes, this brings in a lot of airiness inside this cabin. I love the design. I love the wood treatment. I love the piano black stripe over here, and obviously the AC vents have this chrome or silver surrounds as well. The steering feels really nice to hold. Again, obviously gloss black finish along with the silver treatment over here. 3-spoke steering wheel. On the right we have controls for the cruise control. On the left we have the buttons for the audio system as well as the multi-information display. So it has driver attention level. It will tell you if you need to take a break and have coffee. So that is the driver attention level, and there are multiple things you can browse. This is for the cruise control mode. This is for the vehicle information, and once I get inside, it's telling me the average speed I maintain and how much time I've driven the vehicle. Anyways, I can get into multiple modes. This mode will tell me exactly how much fuel has been consumed, what's the distance to empty. Right now it's showing a mileage to 9.6 kilometers per liter. The car has been turned on for a real long time. In fact, on the shoot we didn't turn it off as well. As you can see, this is the blank mode where nothing is shown, and this is for the telephone. This is for audio, and below we see the temperature, outside temperature, which happens to be 26 degrees, the odometer, and over here there's a clock. On top we have a speedometer, and over that we have a tachometer. So this is a digital cluster which looks really nice. On the right we have a fuel meter. On the leftmost we've got a temperature meter. Usually Honda cars don't have a temperature meter because it shows a blue light when the engine is cold, and that light goes off. As you can see, this is actually to get into the various trip modes, trip A and trip B. Meanwhile, on the right we've got the seatbelt reminder, and telltale lights are positioned all over the place. It also gets speed warning. At 80 kilometers per hour it will buzz once every minute, and post 120 kilometers per hour it will continuously buzz. And I love the overall treatment in this vehicle. It looks really nice. It's got something very cool which happens to be the lane keep assist. Now if I put a left indicator over here, it will show me exactly what is on the left lane, and if there's anyone in my blind spot. That's again a very nice touch. Now if I get back and I can press this button over here, and again it will turn this on to exactly tell me who is on my left side. So that's again a very nice blind spot assist. Meanwhile, let me get into reverse. Now I'm in reverse. Reverse parking camera gets activated, and it gets adaptive guidelines. There are 3 modes as well. I can see a top view, I can see a closer zoomed view and all these things. And it also gets reverse parking sensors. Meanwhile, it gets dual zone climate control system. The air conditioning works really well on this car. These are the controls for the headlight, these are the controls for the wipers. The wipers work really well on this car and clean the windscreen absolutely nicely and cleanly. That again shows the attention to detail. However, it misses out on a delayed wiper swipe. And I love this console, I love this instrument cluster. Only thing is it's slightly small. It gets a 7-inch screen, it gets Apple CarPlay, it gets Android Auto connectivity. It's not very fluid to use as such, and obviously when you turn it on it gives you a warning as well, which although is decent, it's not really a great idea. Let's play some music right away. Audio quality is really great. These are the controls for the air conditioning. It's a little complex, this whole control, and obviously it shows the display over here. So on the top right you can see it showing individual zone temperature. Both are 22 degrees. So right now if I put the temperature to 20 degrees over here and 22 over there, all I need to do is press this button to sync it, and on both the zones the same temperature will be maintained. So as you can see, the car is very practical. The quality levels are really very nice and it feels built to last. Over here we get the paddle shifters as well. Obviously there's no Triptronic function in this vehicle, and overall quality, fit, finish are up to Honda standards. The car feels very premium. However, certain things will definitely remind you of lesser Honda cars like the WRV and the City. Like the key, for instance, the chime which comes from the vehicle if any door is open. And I was telling you about door open, so I know the door is open. It's telling me the front right door is open, the driver's side door is open. So good attention to detail all over the place. And Honda has been so particular that over here there is actually a nice pad over here for your left leg in case you want to scrub it against the center console. You won't hit the plastic, you will just scrub your leg against this nice leather pad. Obviously it also gets leather seats, nice perforation over here. Certainly this car feels great in terms of quality, fit, finish, features, equipment and feel good factor. But how's the horn? Yeah, it's decent, it's not that great. Anyways, let's get driving. Alright, we are all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning and getting into drive mode, getting into sport mode, turning off the traction control as well. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving till 2000 RPM, and here we go, little bit wheel spin, and yeah, it shifts up very quickly. So the gearing is on the shorter side in lower gears. Obviously in higher gears it is on the taller side, and as you can see, pace is decent. It has good amount of low end punch, but it kind of isn't that frisky in the mid-range. It could have done with more punch in the mid-range. It doesn't feel that great in the mid-range, and overall this engine is also slightly noisy. Lower down, yes, it feels refined, but once you get past the mid-range there's a lot of noise as well. There's a typical Honda noise, which the lack of refinement. Now obviously Honda's diesel engines aren't the best in terms of NVH, and this is a similar case as well. So this is powered by a 1.6 liter diesel motor which produces 120 horsepower because it uses a single turbo. Globally this engine is also available with twin turbos which produces 160 horsepower. Now with 120 horsepower and 300 Newton meters of torque, as you would expect, performance isn't that great, and performance is just about average because you can feel the lack of punch when you get hard onto the throttle. Somehow it doesn't feel so brisk to drive. Yes, in the city it's fine because it has good amount of low end punch, but out on the highway want to make a quick overtake, mash the throttle, and it simply doesn't move with the same zest you would expect it to. That's one of the problems. Otherwise I would say performance is decent, but for this price this engine feels quite small, and lack of performance is very evident when you compare it with its rivals which also cost rupees 40 lakhs, especially the Ford Endeavour, which produces a lot more power as well as torque, although it's a much heavier car as well. So this engine is paired to a 9-speed torque converter gearbox. Like I told you, in lower gears the gear ratios are stacked very closely. In high gears they're kind of wider, and that's the reason at low speeds it's good in terms of gathering pace. At higher speeds you can crawl easily on the highway, or rather you can cruise easily out on the highway because it simply pulls quite brilliantly there. And most importantly, this engine makes it very smooth and refined and easy going at higher speeds thanks to the 9th gear obviously. But the thing is, this gearbox, although is fast shifting and is very nice as well, it simply will redline at only 4500 RPM, which by the way is fine. The revs don't really climb up very fast, that again is fine. But the problem I'm facing over here is that when I get into sport mode, right now I'm in sport mode, okay, now if I mash the throttle it will not downshift when I get into manual mode, and manual mode is activated by clicking on the paddle shifters. Now obviously there's no Triptronic function, there are paddle shifters, and the gearbox actually responds very well by using the paddles. However, now when in sport mode I've used the paddles, okay, I've downshifted, everything is fine, but if I hit the red line it will upshift. But if I mash the throttle to get a downshift, it will not downshift. This is not fair, gearbox. I do not like you. If you are going to give me an upshift if I'm hitting the red line, you should give me a downshift when I'm mashing the throttle, right? but that doesn't happen in this car. Anyways, talking about the dynamics of this vehicle, this is underpinned by a monocoque chassis. Now many might call this an SUV, but it's more like a crossover, because yesterday with a lot of swag and confidence I went a little bit off-road and I scraped the underbelly of the car multiple times, and I was really upset about it because I was bragging, look, I'm in an SUV, you guys are driving hatchbacks, what is this and all that stuff, and then 3-4 times the underbelly scraped. I'm like, yeah, ground clearance isn't that great. By the way, the all-wheel drive version has 10 mm extra ground clearance over the front wheel drive version, and there are 3 versions on offer. So there's the petrol, which is available only with 2-wheel drive. There's the diesel, which is available with both 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, and all of the variants are available with an automatic gearbox only. Now the petrol obviously uses a CVT. This one is a torque converter, much better gearbox. Overall performance could have been slightly better. As long as you don't match the throttle, everything seems fine. Now this is underpinned by a monocoque chassis, because of which the ride and handling balance is simply great. It actually drives like a sedan, which is a fab thing. But more importantly, the fact is that this car doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel top heavy. It is eager around the corners. Body roll is very well contained, and the steering, oh my god, Honda, I love you for the steering. They make such great steering. It always has feel and feedback. It weighs up brilliantly at high speeds, and it's very communicative as well. Even the ride quality is just phenomenal, because it rides so well. It just glides over the worst of roads. That's how good the ride of this vehicle is. It is very great riding car. In fact, at any given speeds, any given road, the ride quality is just brilliant. I mean, they have got the perfect balance between ride and handling. So good is Honda with getting the dynamics of the vehicle perfecto, and that's one of the major reasons why you would want to buy a Honda CR-V in the first place, because other cars in the segment, they feel very top heavy. They don't feel so refined in terms of cornering abilities. This one, wow, it's simply amazing. In fact, the brakes also, they are supreme on this vehicle. Good amount of stopping power on offer, and the brake pedal offers such good feel and feedback as well. I love stopping this car. That's why I'm stopping here for no reason, but you know, the brakes offer really show what is stopping power. What beautiful brakes. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and off we go. Okay, little bit of wheel spin. Now the power is a little front centering. Now in even the all-wheel drive version, it will send up to 40% torque to the rear axle, but mostly it is front wheel drive. However, it doesn't, you know, exhibit the characteristic understeer which is expected of a front wheel drive car. Obviously they have perfected the system, but this isn't a car which will really go off-road as such, because mainly due to the ground clearance. Otherwise, with all-wheel drive, yes, there's better grip on offer. These tires also offer good amount of grip as well, and Honda uses Michelin tires, so yeah, no cost cutting on that front. As you can see, the steering is really very nice and sure-footed, offers good feel and feedback as well. So overall, I would say the CR-V is a brilliant car to drive and to be driven in because of the ride quality of this vehicle. But as they say, there are problems, and I'll come to that in a bit. Let me tell you about the fuel efficiency of this vehicle. Now this is the diesel, and it returns a great fuel mileage, which happens to be close to 15 kilometers per liter, when incidentally drops to almost 11 to 12 kilometers per liter when you mash the throttle like a mad person. And overall, I would say, yes, the best thing I like about this car is if I press this button and I can see exactly what is on the left. This blind spot assist works really well on this vehicle. In fact, when I was in the US and I was driving the Odyssey, that too has it. Mostly all the Hondas have it. Now, this is actually based on the Civic platform. The CR-V is based on the Civic platform, just like how on the City platform we have the Jazz. In terms of SUVs, we have the BRV, which is based on the Brio platform. Now the new Amazers, why am I even telling all this? Let's focus on the beautiful CR-V. So it has a fuel tank capacity of 57 liters, which gives it a decent range on offer, and high speed stability is also very good. Only thing is, it doesn't pick up pace so well at high speeds. You really have to match the throttle and hope for a cliff to come, you know, to gather even better momentum, because this engine just paves down in front of the Endeavours or even the Fortuner's motor, because it simply doesn't have the outright go. But in terms of city drivability, well, it is absolutely great, and people who are driving the city won't really complain much, although I believe that the sound could have been slightly lesser, definitely a lot lesser actually. And here comes the big problem of this vehicle, the pricing. So the base petrol, or rather the only petrol variant, which happens to be the base variant, is priced at around 33 lakhs on road Mumbai, and the top of the line diesel all-wheel drive is priced at almost 40 lakh rupees. That's a lot of money for a car which doesn't have the SUV presence and which is rivaling the segment best Toyota Fortuner in terms of sales, segment best Ford Endeavour in terms of appeal, segment best Skoda Kodiaq in terms of features. And yeah, that makes the CR-V's life pretty tough. However, However, it's a Honda, alright, and Honda fans are simply going to love it. So yesterday when I was actually driving the car, Dhanil was around. I don't know, he was tripping over the car completely, and I'm like, dude, just chill, relax, it's just a CRV. But then I got the point. I was waiting somewhere. These guys were shooting something in Motorbeam, and there's this Civic which passed by. That guy applied full brakes, reversed, and he said, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I'm like, dude, what happened? Are you fine? He's like, no, I'm completely fine. Is that the new CRV? Is that the new CRV? I'm like, yeah, it is. And then he's like, have they launched it yet? And I'm like, yeah, right. They have launched it long back, and you claim to be a Honda fan driving a Civic, and you don't know the fact that they've already launched this vehicle a real long time back. Anyways, he was very excited. So for Honda fans, especially if you have seen the movie Wake Up Sid, you will absolutely trip over the Honda CRV, because a lot of memories with that car. And this 5th generation model is absolutely the best CRV ever. It might not have the dynamic abilities of the previous generation CRV, especially the 3rd generation, but if you're a Honda fan, or if you want an easy to drive SUV which is practical, which is not really an SUV, which will not do off-road abilities, but is smooth, refined, feature loaded, and of course easy and fun to drive as well, then there's nothing beating the CRV. And bye bye.